Good Lord, Foxy, calm down. It's just a window. Oh, cats, I tell you, people. Hello, everyone. It's Mr. Harland again. Today we'll be talking about a Canadian outlaw. Ooh, I didn't know Canada had outlaws in the first place. Wow. Surprising, but yeah, it's true. His name is Ernest Cashel. Yeah, I'm currently building, on the meantime, two, I guess, dreadnought-type battle cruisers. But, these things take a while to build, and especially since I work, they take a little bit longer. So, let's actually enjoy nature. Let's get in this tree. I don't need to carry the sword, but I like holding one. As you just don't know nowadays who might come and try and rob you. Ernest Cashel was an American outlaw who became famous in Western Canada. Wow, never mind, he was born in Nebraska of the United States, and yet he somehow ended up in Canada. He was born in 1882, who became famous in Western Canada for his repeated escapes from custody. Wow. Cashel was born in Nebraska of 1882. When he was 14, he left home and quickly ran afoul of the law. He was arrested and sent to jail twice. Both times he escaped. Now a fugitive in the United States, he crossed the Wyoming from... Yeah, I'm having fun today. My tongue is not wanting to work. He crossed from Wyoming through Montana into Alberta and Canada and worked as a ranch hand at several locations. On October 14th, 1902, he was arrested and charged with forgery for passing a bad check while being transported by train. However, under guard, Cashel escaped out the window of a train's lavatory. A posse was formed by the Northwest Mounted Police, but Cashel eluded them. Several weeks later, on November 19th, a man called on police to report his brother-in-law, Isaac Rufus Belt, had gone missing from his ranch east on Lacombe. Of Lacombe. Upon investigation by authorities, it was discovered that a young man named Bert Ellsworth had been staying at Belt's ranch at the time of the latter's disappearance from descriptions given at Ellsworth. Police determined that he was Cashel, living under an alias, and began to hunt for him again. He was discovered at a camp on the outskirts of Calgary wearing Belt's clothing and had in his possession several of Belt's possessions, including a $50 American gold certificate. Cashel was arrested for horse theft as no body had been found that would allow a charge of murder. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison for thefts. On July the 20th, 1903, a farmer discovered Belt's decomposing body in a river. Examination that showed that he had died from a gunshot to the chest, with the bullet found being the same type and caliber as the rifle Cashel had carried. Cashel was brought from the Stony Mountain Penitentiary back to Calgary to face murder charges as an outlaw in the death of Belt. The trial began on October 19th and lasted until October 27th, at which time Cashel was found guilty and sentenced to hang, the execution date being set for December 15th. Because of his history of escaping, he was celled in a specially built cell which kept him separate from the other inmates and was itself set in one corner of a large room where it could be seen by everyone within. The gallows where Cashel was to hang was visible outside the window. Escape from the Mounties. Yeah. Cashel's brother John visited nearly every day, and on December 10th, he arrived as usual, under the pretense of a tearful final farewell to his brother. Indeed, both men were openly weeping. John covertly handed 2 revolvers to Ernest, who concealed them as John left the room. As the guards were being changed from the day shift to the night shift, Cashel pulled both revolvers and ordered the 3 guards in the room to first disarm themselves and then to open his cell. He chained the guards up in his cell and left the building. John Cashel had left his brother a horse to escape upon, but the animal was spooked by Ernest's rapid approach and broke free, disappearing into the frozen night. Realizing that the cold required him to find shelter quickly, Cashel visited a female acquaintance in Calgary and demanded she hide him for the night. The pursuing Mounties also realized that Cashel would have to find shelter quickly and began to search known underworld hangouts. The next day, the horse had been readied for Cashel's escape was found. John Cashel confessed to his role in the escape of his brother. He would later be sentenced to 2 years imprisonment, while the 3 guards involved were fired for dereliction of duty. One Mountie called Cashel's escape the greatest blow the Mounties had ever received in all of their experience. A massive manhunt followed the escape. Reports of sightings of Cashel flowed in from all over Alberta that would mostly turn out to be false leads, although Cashel was actually seen in Calgary around Christmas. Eventually, he was found again, and Cashel had been keeping track of his own pursuit by following the papers. Indeed, had never been more than 6 miles from Calgary during his run. The police received a tip on January the 24th, 1904, that Cashel was hiding in a cellar of a farmhouse outside of Calgary. A large force was dispatched to apprehend him. Along the way, they searched every structure that they came upon. Before discovering a haystack in the vicinity of the farmhouse that had been hollowed out with a small living space within. Convinced they were close, a portion of the squad began to search the farmhouse. One officer started to descend the cellar when a gunshot rang out from below. As the officer backed from the cellar, Cashel pursued a brief exchange of gunfire was had, during which neither man was hit. Finally, Cashel was hit in the foot and retreated back into the farmhouse's cellar. The main body of the police, alerted to Cashel's presence, quickly surrounded the farmhouse. The inspector in charge decided to burn the house to force Cashel out. As the fire was lit, Cashel called out that he was going to kill himself, and indeed a single gunshot was heard moments later. The police proceeded with the fire regardless, and soon Cashel called out again that he would surrender if he was promised not to be shot. This was much agreed to, and Cashel threw his guns out and surrendered to the Mounties. His execution. Like what happens to most outlaws. Assuming they survive, or unless you're John Wesley Hardin and you become a lawyer. And then you get killed, which is crazy. But it was true. Cashel was taken into custody and transported back to the same cell that he escaped from some 45 days prior. Along the way, he told police that he was completely aware at all times of their actions, and could have escaped back to the United States any time, but stayed near Calgary in the hopes of rescuing his brother. He was immediately taken before the court, and a new execution date was set for 9 days later. Ernest Cashel was hanged on February 2nd, 1904, at the Northwest Mounted Police Barracks in Calgary. He is buried in a unmarked grave in the Pottersfield section of Calgary's Union Cemetery. Well, that is it for today's video. Video number 4 will be coming. If you like today's content, feel free to share, like, subscribe, and ring that bell for those notifications as soon as they drop. And leave a comment in the comments section down below if you love today's videos. And as one YouTuber put it, we shall be doing this very soon again, my friends. everyone.